week for July 4th holiday. And for some hackers, your passport information is a prime target on the road. Passports are hot commodities on the dark web. Each one sells for $1,000 on average. Here to tell us more about the travel hacking are Charles Henderson, Global Managing Director and Head of IBM X-Force Red, which is their hacker division, and CNBC.com technology reporter Kate Vizzini. Charles, there's sort of a surprise that the passport is worth $1,000, although, again, it's valuable, I get that. But to me, the real shocker here is that you're telling me a social security number on the dark web is worth $1, just $1?
Well, if you think about it, the Social Security number is really valuable in only one country, whereas the passport can be a world traveling phenomenon. And you actually see, depending on the attributes of that passport, you can see prices go up into the $4,000 and $5,000 range.
Wow.
On a per passport, a physical copy.
And Kate, I mean, to be clear, we're talking about complete passports, right?
That's
not just
right.
a number.
So these big numbers are for an actual physical fully formed passport that will work at a port of entry, and that's difficult to put together, which is where there's a lot of legwork there. So for most people, your passport expires, or the information about you on the dark web isn't the full scope, but certainly this is something that's happening and it's serious.
And a lot of the times, Charles, when we travel, you know, especially if you're going to something like an Airbnb or even a hotel, they'll say, hey, make sure you hide that passport, you know, lock it away, so, you know, really go to extra precautions. I mean, look, does that accomplish anything? What are the real ways, if you really wanted to try to keep that information safe, to do so?
So that is certainly a good idea, and that's sage advice. But the problem is that it's not just the physical copy of your passport anymore. It's the digital copy, the digital trail that you leave when you travel. Think about all the sites, all the companies that have access to your information, store your information, that you provide your information. And criminals are targeting those sites, those companies, and they're doing it to big numbers, the tune of about $60 billion in 2018
Jeez.
alone. And that's with a B. That is not with an M.
Yeah, that's a huge number. Kate, while that is a huge industry, as we said, Social Security numbers only worth $1. As Charles said, they're not as valuable internationally, which is interesting. Credit cards with CVV numbers, that annoying 3-digit code, only $5 on the dark web, and even a driver's license goes for $20.
I think it makes a lot of sense, though, and it's probably a testament to how far we've come in terms of being able to respond to these incidents, that a credit card is really only as good as you have not been called by your bank and told that it's been used for fraud and it's been canceled. So there's a ticking clock every time these numbers are stolen.
And finally, Charles, if that's true, the better we get. It's whack-a-mole, right? You get better at stopping credit card fraud, or you know, but then there's something else that becomes more valuable. Do you see that happening, or are we just getting better overall?
Absolutely. So you think about these travel companies. They have the trifecta of data. They have PII, personally identifiable information, things like passport numbers. They have credit card information, you know, your payment information. And then finally, they have your loyalty program information.
Yeah.
And what's actually interesting is it is easier to transfer this information across borders than it is to transfer actual currency. Mm-hmm. So you can see organizations such as organized crime or any other criminal organization transfer this data across borders in lieu of cash. And that actually, that really lends itself to their practices.
Yeah, guys, thanks. Charles Henderson, Kate Vizzini, appreciate you joining me today. That does it for The Exchange, everyone. Power Lunch begins right now.